everybody, and welcome to Storm Raids. And if you're new here, my name is Stormy, and today I am going to be doing my October wrap-up. I kind of had like a bit of an off month, and there towards the end I kind of got croupy and had like this cold thing and a little cough. It wasn't anything bad, but it just kind of, I ran out of time, and so I'm trying to hurry up and get my wrap-up done because I haven't even thought about what I'm going to read for November. And it's already like the last day of October. So, yikes. Okay, anyway. I'm just going to go through these a little bit quick. I did read/listen to 16 books, which is still pretty good, but a lot of them were little kids' books that were really quick. So, I don't really think that my reading was quite on par as it has been. But that's okay. I did have quite a few like print and ebooks and things that I was trying to get through. So I knew that was probably going to happen. I wasn't going to get through all the books that I wanted to, and that's okay. And also, I didn't really have a lot of winning books this month. I just had a few 4 stars. Most of them were like 3, and I had a few 2 and like 2.5, 2 stars. So yeah, just overall, not as good a month as I would have liked. And I didn't get quite as many spooky books in as I wanted, but oh well. I read spooky books anytime, so I don't necessarily have to read them in October. So, first I'm going to talk about is the creature feature reading extravaganza that was hosted by John from Books of Blood and Jason from Jason Weird Reads. No. Tongue twister there. And I was supposed to read 5 books, but I managed to get 4 out of the 5 prompts, so I think I did fairly well. I was having kind of a time with those because like the books that I had just really weren't real great, and I struggled with the one of them, and I just got it finished actually this morning, which is why I'm filming so late. But so I had to read a vampire book written by a woman, and so I read Vampire Blood by Catherine Mayer Griffith, and I will put pictures up here. And it was okay. Not quite as much vampire stuff as I would have liked, I guess. It was about a lady, not a girl, but a woman and her father. They work in a construction business together, and her father's getting a little bit older. And sorry, I can't remember the characters' names. I'm really bad with remembering that kind of stuff. But there is a family of like vampires, and from what I gathered is that it's a couple of older vampires and then some younger vampires that are kind of like, I guess, like a pack or something. I don't know what you would call a group of vampires. But they're a group. And the older vampires are getting a little tired of the younger ones because of the younger ones not seeming to care what they do. They always have to move around a lot. And at the beginning, they're having to move again, and one of the younger ones doesn't want to, and the older one knows that they're about to lose their grip over the younger ones, and when that happens, then, it's just going to go wild, and they know that the younger ones are stronger than them because they are older vampires, I guess, and maybe they're losing their edge, I guess, I don't know, and so they end up moving to this town, which I can't remember the name of the town. Summer something, I think. Anyway. And they move there, and there is an old movie theater, and they decide to renovate that, and they're going to kind of open that back up. And so they hire the woman and her father. And while they're kind of getting to know things, there are some weird things happening around town. A lot of animals and livestock and things like that are going missing or being found drained of blood and stuff like that. So there's some strange things going on. And then some people start turning up missing. And some of them were the lady's friend. And then some other things happen. And anyway, she's gonna end up having to like fight these vampires or whatever. But it wasn't real long. I think it was just maybe a little over 250 pages. It wasn't very long. So really, there wasn't a lot of vampire action, I guess you could say. If I'm gonna read about like mean and vicious killing vampires and not like the pretty sparkly ones, then I kind of want some action, I guess, and things like that. And there just wasn't a whole lot, and there was just a teeny bit at the end, and yeah, so I mean, it was an okay story, but I think it needed, maybe if it was a little bit longer and I got to know some of the characters a little bit more, but overall, I'd give it 3 stars because, I mean, it was decent, but it just could have been better. And so the next one I had to read a werewolf book that had wolf, I think, in the title. Wolf or moon or something. Can't remember the prompts. Anyway, so I read Wolf Hunt by Jeff Strand, and that was different. I've read 2, this is my second Jeff Strand book, and so I'm thinking he's kind of goes on the humorous side of horror. And because the first one I read of his, which was Clowns vs. Spiders, was way over the top, and I thought it was really dumb and didn't really make a lot of sense. But I know some people liked it. But this one, I just kind of went with it and everything, and it's about these 2 thugs who get hired to transport a werewolf from like point A to point B. And they're told not to interact with him, not to feed him, not to let him out, not to do all these things. And, you know, they're, you know, just going to get paid. They don't care. There's, you know, it does look a little weird that they are bringing this guy, because, I mean, it is a guy in a cage. And they're being told that it's a werewolf. And, you know, yeah, there's no such thing as werewolves. But that's okay. We'll do it because we're just going to get paid for it. And, you know, we don't care and everything. And the guy keeps trying to plead with him about how, you know, he's not a vampire. And, you know, whenever they take me to this place and I can't do what they want me to do, they're going to kill me and all this stuff. And he really riles up one of the thugs. I think their names are George and Lou. Don't quote me on that. But I think that's their names. And, yeah, George gets, like, really, really mad. And so when they pull over somewhere, well, before that, they do pull into a gas station and they start getting attacked by these dogs. And they're not, where are these dogs coming from? There's, like, Dobermans coming everywhere. It's pretty comical. I mean, just the things that are happening. You know, little bitty rat terriers, like, attacking them, too, or whatever. It was kind of funny. And they get out of that and they end up rescuing a woman, so they bring this woman with them. And so now what are they going to do? They're transporting this guy in a cage who they say is a werewolf. Now they got this lady in the car, so the guy's working with it, and he's like, you know, hey, you know, you just kidnapped this woman now. What are you going to do? You know, look at me in this cage. You know, she's going to go and tell the police. And, hey, lady, you need to go tell, you know, riles him up a lot. And ends up really riling up George a lot. So when they pull over, he thinks he's gonna like taunt the, you know, kind of werewolf and everything, and things don't go quite as well as he thought it would be, and it's kind of his fault that the werewolf gets away. So now they have to find this werewolf, and he's like this crazy guy who doesn't care who he kills or what he does. I mean, so he's just really going on like a rampage, and George and Lou is kind of feeling bad because all these people are dying, and it's basically their fault because they let this werewolf loose. So yeah, it's pretty funny, but it's not got a whole lot of substance to it. So I gave it 3 stars because it was kind of fun, and you know, it was okay. I think it's a trilogy maybe, so I may check out the next one and see what happens. I don't know, but it was kind of fun. And the next one I read was, I had to read one about a cryptozoology, you know, a Bigfoot or something. And so I chose to read a Bigfoot book. And this is The Easton Falls Massacre by Holly Ray Garcias and Ryan Prentice Garcia. It's Bigfoot's Revenge. I had a lot of high hopes for this, but it is really small, and I think maybe this one, to me, just didn't work quite as a novella. Maybe if it was fleshed out a little bit more and I cared about the characters more, I might have liked it a little bit more. But yeah, this kind of fell flat for me, and I hate that because I did get this from the authors, and so I'm really, glad that the authors gave this to me. And, I mean, they were even nice enough to, like, sign it and everything, so I will keep it. But, yeah. It's about, an army vet named Henry, and at the beginning, it's kind of got this on-again, off-again thing with this woman, and then he gets his heart broken a little bit and gets mad and goes out into the woods, and he's going to go hunting, and he ends up killing a Bigfoot, and he doesn't know, oh, what am I going to do? And he has the guy come and help him take it back to their village, which he takes it back to Easton Falls, which is something that he shouldn't have done. And this one guy, and I can't remember his name, something like Toozy, something like that. Anyway, he tells them, because evidently they've had like this pact between the people that live there and these Bigfoots, and like, you stay on your side, we'll stay on our side. But one day, I guess one of the like younger Bigfoots comes through and gets in the wrong side, and then the guy kills him. So they just want, if he would have left the Bigfoot there, probably it would have been a little bit better, but he brought it to town, and this guy's telling him, don't do that, you need to take it back, but they don't, and then havoc ensues, and this poor little town, it was bad for the town. The bad thing is it's only, let's see, what is it, like 126 pages, and nothing really happened till about over halfway through it, and so I just kept trudging through it. I really didn't care about Henry, and I didn't care about him and the woman and what happened, and I just didn't care, and, none of the characters were all that likable. And, maybe that's the way it was supposed to be. I don't know. And I know some people have read this and they really liked it. I also know another blogger friend that I know. She didn't like it that well either. And so, at least I don't feel bad for not liking it. But I gave it 2 stars, like 2.5 stars. I don't know. It just, it was okay. But just didn't fulfill that Bigfoot book need I wanted. It's the second Bigfoot book that I haven't really liked. Put that down there because I don't know where else to put it. And then the last one that I read for this extravaganza was to read a ghost book. And I read The Haunting of Gillespie House by Darcy Coates. And boy, was that a struggle. This is my first Darcy Coates, and I've heard so many good things about Darcy Coates, and I really wanted to like this, and I just didn't like it, and maybe I just picked the wrong one. It is a little bit on the cozy side, and I was told by this one lady on Instagram that if I don't like cozy reads and I'm a sicko and likes the bad stuff, then I shouldn't read Darcy Coates. So maybe I shouldn't read Darcy Coates. It's kind of funny. Anyway, it's about this lady L who is house sitting for a couple who, I think they were going to marriage counseling or something, and they were going to be leaving. They wanted somebody to stay at their house and just kind of look over it, and she thinks this is going to be a posh job and everything. So she's sitting for them, and while she's in there, she hears like some scratches and some weird noises. She calls up the Mrs. Gillespie and is like, I'm hearing these weird noises and scratches. She's like, all the rats are back, just put out some rat stuff, but, and things go ahead. Also, she decides to go investigate in the house and be nosy, is what I'm thinking. I mean, you're house sitting. I don't think that means let's go and check all the rooms and see what's in them. But she's like, opening doors. Well, there's this one door that doesn't open. And she's like, I wonder why this one doesn't open, but everything else does. And then she ends up finding a graveyard and out in the back, and she thinks that's kind of creepy. And then, some other things happen, but not a lot of things. I mean, even for a haunted house book, I was thinking, there'd be a little bit more creepy. Atmospheric. atmospheric things going on, but I didn't even really think there were all that much. All I could really think through this whole thing is how nosy this lady is, because she's like, you know, wanting to find out this and that and the other, and she's scratching, she hears these noises. But it wasn't really even anything that big that I would warrant even really being afraid of. And then she finds this mausoleum, and she finds out about this guy, Jonathan Gillespie, who is like greats or whatever, and he was evil, and he was in a cult, and all these things. And she decides, you know, because she's nosy, that she wants to see what's in the mausoleum. Okay? Why don't you just leave the mausoleum alone? It's not yours. It's not your property. Leave it alone. So she works really hard getting the thing off of there, and she gets the wooden plank off, and then she can't get it open, but then it kind of opens or whatever it is, and it hits her in the head, and she falls down. And I thought, you know, if an evil spirit or monster comes out of there and eats her, she deserved it. That's all I can think of the whole time. And yeah, and then there's some things, and she's got to do, and okay, there's a good versus evil battle. I didn't like it. I don't know. It just, you know, I mean, there's a little bit other things that happen, but really, it just felt so simple, and it just, there wasn't a lot of meat to it. I don't know. I didn't know, you don't know a lot about the Gillespie stuff. You get a little bit, and then, you know, all I could think of is this lady is super nosy. I mean, she like breaks into that one room because she just has to know what's in there. And if I was the owners and I come back, I would be like pissed. I'd be like, what are you doing? Maybe the door was locked for a reason. And that bothered me. And I think I couldn't get over that aspect of her being so nosy. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was her own house and she was destroying. But this wasn't her house. It was somebody else's. And yeah, it bothered me. I gave it 2 stars, but it wasn't for me. And I'm sad because I want to try more Darcy Coates, but now I'm a little worried. I may try some more. I mean, maybe that one just didn't do it for me, but maybe I'll like another one. I don't know. We'll see. If you've read Darcy Coates and you have like a favorite, maybe you can put it in the comments and let me know, and I'll give it a try maybe. We'll see. The other one I was supposed to read was like a Lovecraftian thing by a person of color, but I didn't get to that one. I was going to read Meddling Kids, and I didn't get to that one. But I think I did, you know, fairly decent. I read 4 out of 5. There we go. And then I participated with Spooktober. Loosely participated with Spooktober because I totally missed like the photo challenges, which I was kind of bummed about, but I just forgot about them. And I did manage to fit some of the books that I did read into the challenges. And like the first challenge was a reading challenge, and it was a costume party. And since I read Wolf Hunt, I'm going to count that as a scary costume. And I did buddy read a book with my friend Barb, and so I could count that as a besties costume too. And I read The Nesting by C.J. Cook with her, which also didn't go over really well for me. And I don't remember. Oh man, I don't remember the lady's name. I do. Lexi / Sophia, because in the beginning she's Lexi, and she trying to commit suicide like right off the bat. And yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, not really liking this character already. Then she gets dumped by her boyfriend and finds out that her friend is actually seeing her boyfriend, and she has no place to go. She's homeless. She's on a train. She overhears about this job offer in, I think it was Norway, and somebody needs a nanny. And so she pretends to be her. So now she's Sophie, and she gets the job. She goes there. And while she's there, there's a few strange things happen. She's seeing things or whatever, and just it's a little bit strange things. It's a gothic horror, and maybe I don't do well with gothic horror. I haven't really read a whole lot of gothic horror horror, so I don't know if it's just that or if it's just the book. But yeah, I just didn't like it. I can't even really remember a whole lot about it because I don't think a whole lot really happened. She's taking care of these two kids. The oldest one is a little strange. She sees things happen. There's some accidents and things. She thinks there's something out there, and it has something to do with Norwegian folklore. And the ending, yeah, no, I didn't know. I didn't like where the ending went. I didn't like the ending at all. And so, yeah. I started out giving this 3 stars, but I don't know. The more I think about it, I think it's more like a 2.5 stars. So I think I'm going to lower it to that. And then refreshments. I could use The Nesting, which I just talked about, for Mrs. Lovett's Meat Pie. Read a book with an you think will be unlikable, because I did not like that lady at all. And then Candy Bowl was to take a small piece and read a novella or a graphic novel, and I read Mary, The Adventures of Mary Shelley's great granddaughter by Bria Grant, and illustrations by Yishan Lee. Not sure if I said that right, but that's what it looks like. We'll see. And it was okay. For a starter, because this was like the first volume, hopefully there's going to be more volumes, because as it stands by itself, if there's never going to be any more volumes, I would give it 2 stars. But I think this is just the beginning of a series, at least I hope. And as a beginner part, it's like I could give it 3 stars, I think. But it was really a lot of build-up to like the very end, and so you don't really get a lot of stuff, and it was a tad boring. The illustrations were pretty cool. I really liked the illustrations and everything, and I like the premise of the story, and it's about Mary, who she's kind of overshadowed by all the other Marys in her family and things who are writers. You know, of course, you got the big Mary Shelley, and then her mother's a writer, and her grandmother's a writer, her aunt's a writer. Everybody's writing, but Mary doesn't want to write. She's not good at it. She doesn't like it. And then she finds out she has the ability to heal monsters, and she's got these monsters all coming around her, but it also puts her in the spotlight of some nasty little critters and stuff. And that's why I said it kind of builds up to like this whole thing at the end. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more, because I do think it has potential. I just don't think the first volume was all that great on its own. And then Dance Floor Playlist. I've got Monster Mash, a book with monsters in it. I listened to 2 middle grade books this month. Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting came out on Netflix. I had read that book before, so I quickly listened to it, and then I decided to go ahead and continue and listened to Beast and Geeks and let's see, Mission to Monster Island by Joe Ballerini. And they were super cute, middle grade, spooky monster books about a babysitter who finds out that she, if she's babysitting, she's got taking care of her wards, and she has to keep, protect them from monsters, because the boogeymen are wanting them. And in the first one, you've got the Grand something, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's a pretty terrifying little spooky monster that wants the baby, or the child that she's babysitting, and that's when she learns all about the whole babysitting thing and slaying monsters and all that stuff. And yeah, they're super cute. They're really quick. You know, it didn't take me very long to listen to them at all. And so yeah, I like those. I can also put in thriller for the Dance Floor Playlist, was to read a thriller, and I read 2 of those. I read The Creek on the Stairs by, and I cannot say her name, they're Icelandic, Eva Bjorn Eggestorter. know I butchered that. I cannot. It's an Icelandic name. I mean, yeah, no way I even said that correctly. But I got that and The Betrayal by Lilha something. Yeah, you'll just have to see the name on the bill because I can't. But I got both of those from Orenda Publishing for review. And Creek on the Stairs is about Elma. She is a detective, and she moves back home because something happens with her husband, and so she moves back home to a smaller town, and she is getting introduced to some of the other people that she has to work with, and I'm just not going to say any of their names because I know I will butcher them all because Icelandic, and I'm not even sure I'm saying Elma right. So anyway, but she gets introduced into that, and there is a murder. There's a lady was found by the lighthouse, and she has to kind of figure out what is going on, and it seems like there's a bigger picture of what happened, and it has something to do with something that happened a long time ago, and so you get flashbacks from there and everything. And then I was wondering where it was going because I was a little confused and everything, but it does all kind of come together in the end. And overall, it was a decent thriller. If you heard that, that was my father sneezing. There was it was pretty decent. I gave it 3 stars. I am curious to try out more Icelandic thriller noir. I call it Iceland noir, and especially this was I think a debut, and so I would like to check out more from this particular author. The other book that I read that was a thriller is called Betrayal, and I didn't like that one quite as much. That one is about, if I say this right, Ursula, and she's become a minister of something. I don't remember, but anyway, it has to do with like the policing and things, and the permanent minister person, Othen, I think is his name, and he put her there, and there's a reason that she got put there, and I think they thought they could control her a little bit more than they did, and it just didn't work out quite well. And it has to do with a rape case and some things that happened to her father a long time ago, and I just didn't feel like there was a whole lot there, and it wasn't very thrilling, and there wasn't even a whole lot of crime to me, really. Was her trying to investigate a rape case, why a rape case had gotten lost in the judicial system, I guess, and no murders, no nothing. It would, well, I take that back. One guy did get killed towards the end, but I mean, just to me, there wasn't a whole lot there, and I just didn't really like it all that much. And so I gave it 2 stars, and I do want to try more Icelandic, like I said, Icelandic thrillers, because I did get a little bit bogged down in all the weird names because I can't pronounce them, and it did get me kind of interested in Icelandic pronunciations. I've been like watching a lot of videos on YouTube because it just sounds really neat when they say it, not when I say it. And anyway, those were the oh wait, I did have Festivities, which was carve a jack-o'-lantern, and it was to read a book with a face on the cover, and so Vampire Bloods by Catherine Mayer Griffith did that one. But yeah, so that was me loosely participating in Spooktober. And then I did have a few other books, and wow, I am really rambling on, so sorry this is so long. And so, let's see, I've got Risa Zombert by Carol LaRue, I think that's how you say it, and it's a middle grade book about a girl who finds a cat that looks like it's on death's door, and it decides it wants to just eat like animal heads and everything, and so her friend thinks it's a zombie. They call it Zombert and everything, and it's just kind of the adventure about it, and is it a cat or is it a zombie cat? And it was kind of cute. I think some of the illustrations is a little bit morbid. It has a cat with a squirrel in its mouth, and I think that was a little morbid for a little kid's book. But overall, it was decent. The only thing that really made me aggravated is it left me at a cliffhanger, and I just don't like little middle grade books leaving me at a cliffhanger. I mean, it'd be different if it's one of those like really thick, chunky ones, but a little bitty book leaving me at the cliffhanger kind of made me mad. So yeah, that one was okay. I gave it 3 stars. And let's see, Premeditated Myrtle by Elizabeth C. Bunce. I listened to this one. I got this one from Recorded Books. Oh, I got Zombert from Candlewick Press. And I got this one from Recorded Books. I got it off of NetGalley Audio. And it was super cute. Mystery with Myrtle, who is really fascinated by like criminal science and things like that. And her father, I believe, is a lawyer. So she is invested in that, and her neighbor dies, and she thinks that it was murder, wasn't an accident, and so she wants to get involved into that and try to figure out what happened. And she kind of brings along her governess with her, kind of begrudgingly sometimes, but she does go with her now and then to help her investigate. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. Okay, Her Final Prayers. I got that one was the second book in the Detective Claire Jeffries series, and it's set in a polygamy town, and it's about Claire, who used to be from there, but she's not anymore, so they don't like to communicate with her much. And then she is kind of like, in the first book, things happen, and now she is, I don't want to say, but now she's like working in that town. She's like a detective chief person or whatever, and there's a murder of 4 in the beginning, and she has to figure out what happened, and I'm just gonna say that I really like it. I like the writing style. I really like the series. I'm curious to see where it's going. I never read a series that was set in a polygamous town, and so I think that's kind of cool, and I give it 4 stars and can't wait to get the next one. I read Sing Like No One's Listening by Vanessa Jones, and I got this one from Peachtree Publishing, and it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. It's a young adult contemporary. There were some parts of it that aggravated me, but then there were some parts of it that I really did enjoy. It does have a romance. It's about a girl who kind of loses her voice after the death of her mother. She goes to audition, and it's one of those things, like, she goes to audition. Her mother's been dead for a little while, I believe, and she goes to audition at this school. It's like a dance music school called the Duke's Academy, and right before she's supposed to go on stage and audition, she gets a voicemail from her mother. Like, she gets a message from her mother. It's like one of those things that gets lost in the phone system, and then poof, it pops out. And it just popped out at the wrong time. So she gets that, so it messes with her head, and it messes with her. She goes out there to audition, and she can't sing. And she gets into the academy anyway, and she has no clue why she got into the academy, because she bombed her audition. And then she finds out that her mother went there, and that her mother, the Mrs. Dukes, knew her mother, and there were some reasons why she got in it, but it wasn't all because of what she was thinking. She thought it was because of her mother. And she meets this guy while she's there, and she meets some mean girls, and you've got some stereotypical mean girls. The girl that doesn't think she can eat because she's got to stay skinny. And this girl, Nettie, she's fairly comfortable with her body. Her mother taught her to be comfortable with her body, so she's not fat by any means, but she's, maybe a little chunkier than most. And she's, okay with that and everything. She takes a lot of flack from a lot of the students and the teachers, because the this one teacher, especially because I guess they didn't like her mother. And she's trying to cope with all that and trying to get her voice back. She has to go to like this specialized thing to try to work on getting her voice, because it's a psychological thing. And like I said, and then she meets this boy and everything, and it's cute. And there were some, young adult angsty stuff that just really drove me crazy, and some miscommunication type things that you just wanted to smack her upside the head and just talk to the boy and kind of things. But yeah, overall, I liked it, and I gave it 3.5 stars. And I think that's everything. I hope that's everything. Anyway, we're going to say that's everything because this video has gone on too long. I will mention that I was reading this book and I just didn't get it finished. I got over halfway through it, but it's okay. But I'm just really having a hard time with it, so I'm trudging along with it. So this one's going to be rolling over to the next month. But I did want to mention it, because I did spend a good fair bit of time on it and got halfway through it. And so, okay, so that's everything that I read. And like I said, overall, it was kind of a month. Star rating wise, anyway, and everything. So, I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.